It is undoubtedly true that the most important song in Silent Hill 4 is Room of Angel. Not only does it play during Cynthia's tragic death, but the instrumental track is heard in the opening credits of the game, and the song itself plays during the trailer in the game's main menu. 3 central portions of the game centered upon the same song, a song of mourning and melancholy from a child to their mother. The songs of Silent Hill 4 were composed by Akira Yamaoka, but they were not written by him. It was a group project, in which the instrumentals, the game's script, and list of characters were sent to the United States to Joe Romersa, a musician, composer, and musical producer. Using the provided materials, Romersa would then write the lyrics to the songs, before sending them back to Yamaoka for final changes and additions. The name Room of Angel immediately ties the song to the central concept of the game, the room. Henry, our protagonist, is trapped in his apartment, his room, and it's very likely the same room is being named in the song. It is, after all, Room 302, which is considered the mother of the game, the room which Walter imagines as his ultimate goal. The fact that the song plays over so many central scenes of the game implies that it is this song that displays the main themes of the story, that the central idea of the music is tied deeply to Silent Hill 4. It is a song sung in the first person by the haunting melodic tones of Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Though a woman's voice gives it life, that does not mean it is a female character whose voice is speaking. In fact, it seems far more likely this song portrays Walter Sullivan's personal feelings. Many theories have been raised about the song possibly having 2 points of view. I prefer the interpretation that ultimately this is about Walter, his feelings as he stands in the room of Angel, the angel representing in his mind the spirit of his mother whom he never got to meet. The song opens in a way that immediately reveals the first-person point of view. You lie, implying both that someone is lying on the ground before the speaker, and perhaps that someone is lying to them, telling falsehoods. The song often uses well-placed commas to allow for multiple interpretations of the lyrics. They are silent before the speaker, a major theme of the Silent Hill series, the idea of silence and victimhood. Those who are harmed, who are victimized in the Silent Hill series rarely get to speak for themselves, instead leaving behind evidence of what harm was done to them before they passed on. The person lying before Walter is possibly one of his victims, possibly one of those members of the cult whom he killed early in his career, one of those liars. The wind howling at the window, the love you never gave. Walter stands in a room with a window to the outside, similar to the one Henry is trapped in, perhaps the same one. We know from the game's earlier events that Walter stayed in the abandoned Room 302 for a short time during the 10 Hart murders, before committing suicide and hiding his corpse in a secret room. The song may be written to portray his point of view during this time, referencing his murders, his suicide, and the room he considers his mother. He gives love to the one who never gave him love, his mother who he never met, and the empty room which can hardly love him in return. The next line is ambiguous, not saying who really don't deserve it. But now there's nothing you can do. A double implication, that the mother doesn't deserve his love, and his victim lying on the floor doesn't deserve what's happening. It's left open to interpretation, including no specifics as to who is being spoken of and what is being done to them. But whatever it is, there's nothing they can do. Walter is unstoppable. Sleep in your only memory of me. The room is sleeping. His mother is still asleep, and he calls her that in the next line, my dearest mother, recognizing his mother is sleeping in the room somewhere. Your only memory of me is the only memory he's given her, here and now, the violence he's visited upon the room with his ritual, the only time he and his mother have interacted. The chorus starts here, a haunting few lines focusing on the aspects of sleep and death in the song. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes, singing to the mother he's told to go to sleep, and the victim whose life he is ending. It was always you that I despised. Walter certainly hated many of his victims, but it's entirely possible he also hates the mother that left him, even as he craves her love. We've seen how extraordinarily violent he is to women, a way of venting the rage he feels at his mother onto another target. He doesn't feel enough for you to cry. Again, likely the victim, but also his mother. He loves the idea of her, but doesn't even know who she is. How is he to cry about someone he never knew? The word goodbye is repeated multiple times. Goodbye to the mother he never had, and to the life he is ending. The next line refers to something dormant inside the speaker, asking where it is. It's so insignificant, perhaps meaning unimportant or small, and it's deep inside the speaker. He asks if it's high up in the clouds or down in the sewers, far underground or far overhead, both places that are out of reach. He ends the thought thinking perhaps they are happy without him, implying that the speaker is himself unhappy, or that others cannot be happy with him. It is better to be away from him. We know from the game's story that Walter has two selves, his younger, innocent self, a dormant side who is ultimately overtaken by the older, violent one. Young Walter represents Walter's humanity, his innocence and happiness, and it is perhaps this youthful self that is referenced here, representing how Walter's youth, his innocence, is now far from him, and his happiness is gone with it. The next section is a new thought. I switch to discussing seeds in a field. Who would have lived if only the speaker had died? And who could have lived if not for Walter? All his victims. Seeds he planted in a field, to sprout and give life to his mother. They are but sources of energy for his magic spell. If not for Walter, they'd have sprouted blessedly, living lives of their own. But the line is divided in a way that the died could also be part of the next sentence. If I had died, I would have never felt sad at all. Walter would not have mourned his own life, clearly, since he does in fact end it himself. This reference to his suicide and his own lack of love for himself and his life seems central to the fact that this song is his point of view. He says you won't hear him say, I'm sorry. He does not regret what he's done. And the last line, the final original thought before the repeat of the chorus, discusses the light. Where is the light? Wonder if it's weeping somewhere. Silent Hill 4 is not a game with much light. Henry has no flashlight. There is mostly darkness all around. Every character in the game seems rather miserable even before the events that bring them in contact with Walter. Only one character is different. Eileen, whose name happens to be translatable to light. Whether the light mentioned is a more vague question of where is goodness, happiness, normalcy, all the things Walter and his many victims lack. Or where is Eileen? Who is the character that represents these things and the only one to have them for herself? Either way, the song ends with the search for something worth living for, an emotion beyond sorrow and anger, which is all Walter seems capable of feeling. The song ties together his feelings for his missing mother and his feelings for his victims, displaying a mindset in which Walter recognizes on some level that what he is doing is wrong and he does not care. 3 times the concept of crying is mentioned, but it is never Walter that is crying. He thinks that someone somewhere else may be crying. He says he doesn't feel enough to cry, that if he died he would never have been sad. Feelings of sorrow are beyond him. He cannot feel them. But he feels love. Love for a mother that never loved him. Even as he says he didn't know her enough to cry for her. The love he clings to barely resembles the love most of us feel. It is an empty facsimile of love. The song is a lullaby. A lullaby for a murderer to his victim, for whom he barely feels a thing. A song for a mother who doesn't really exist, for an empty room that Walter projects onto. This is a song for Walter, in the many empty places of the world he's visited, where he's committed atrocious deeds and been left alone in the aftermath with his emptiness and a corpse, the only constants in his life. Where is the light? It is somewhere else. It is weeping. Not Walter. What Walter can feel is insignificant, buried deep. He feels no regret. He feels no sorrow. He clings to a mother that does not exist, and he will continue to kill until someone else sings a lullaby for him. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. To gain full access to the backlog of Silent Hill symbolism videos, join my Patreon or YouTube channel. To request a specific episode, you can purchase a commission at my Ko-fi shop. This episode was a commission for Ariel. Thank you for your support and your patience, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you all next time in the Room of Angel.